FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're at a point, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. That's right. I believe in you. I say that all the time, but man, I want you to know that I mean it. You know, when I say I believe in you, it comes from a place of I know what's capable in you. I know what's possible. I know what you're trying to do. I know so many people who've done it. So therefore, I believe that you can do it as well. I know you can do it. I believe you can do it. And episode 193 will continue to prove to you that it's absolutely worth doing and, of course, possible. Let's open up the show, and we really want to dive right in. I want to get to this great email. It says, "Hi, FatDag. I've joined Weight Watchers many times since I was 18 years old. I am 49 now. I started in September of 2017 with meetings thinking that I only have 22 more pounds to lose. It shouldn't take me that long at all to get to lifetime. My highest weight a few years ago, my highest weight was 245 pounds. My starting weight with online only was 190. Starting weight with meetings, 163. Current weight, 147.4 pounds with a goal weight of 141. Since I joined meetings, it has gone so slow. We're on a strict budget, and one of the things that I'm keeping is my Weight Watchers, but I vowed to my husband and me I would hurry up and get to goal so it would be free every month. I am losing this weight for me to feel good about myself and to stay healthy. All of the other times that I lost weight, it was for others, but this time is for me. I started with meetings, which I absolutely love, but then my birthday, Thanksgivings, Christmas, New Year's, now Easter, and I'm also addicted to food and sugar, and I'm a binge eater. Every time I go to a family function or a small party, I binge that night enough to gain possibly 3 to 5 pounds. I get right back on the plan the next day, but my husband of 27 years has no clue that I binge. He doesn't understand why I can't just lose the last few pounds. I'm not going to go through all the times that I've lost and gained and lost and gained. It would take too long, but I had a husband and a son going through cancer treatments. Not at the same time, so emotional eating is a huge thing for me. I absolutely love listening to your podcast. I go to sleep early, so the next morning I watch the live part to your show while getting dressed for work. I then listen to the actual podcast on my hour-long drive to work. I vowed to never eat in my car or bed, so this has helped me a lot. I know I am rambling, but I thought maybe if I wrote and got a good, encouraging word from you, it would give me a good kick in the fanny to keep going. I love your podcast and love listening to them on my walks and my commutes to work. Thank you, name Redacted. So, you know, I think this is one of those instances where as we work this journey, we often forget to celebrate what we have accomplished. And when you look at this entire journey, you know, and a starting weight 245 pounds, current weight 147 pounds, that's almost 100 pounds lost. And so, you know, that's an amazing accomplishment. And you can't find too many people on the planet who've actually done that. You've done it. Congratulations on completely changing your life. You have to look better. You have to feel better. You have to understand that everything that you've done to this point has gotten you here for that success. there are so many things going on in your life, and certainly, having to take a pause for a moment as your husband and your son undergo cancer treatments. The emotional eating certainly is going to kick in during that time frame. Having a plan certainly may have, given you some sort of, help during that process. But the reality is, as we talk about, you have to just, some point, just say, hey, I'm doing my best, and I'm still down 100 pounds. I think I'm going to be okay as we navigate this new thing that we're dealing with. There will always be a holiday around the corner, whether it's your birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the list continues to go on. And, we talk about every year, the big three, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. But reality is, as we start working this process through the year, we start finding every little reason to celebrate. And that's important to do as well. But we got to think about what it is the major goal is. With St. Patrick's Day, you can mix in there. You can mix in the 4th of July. You can mix in, Flag Day. There's always going to be a reason to overdo it. Some of us who struggle with binge eating, I don't have a ton of experience in that area, but I do have some familiarity. It's not completely uncommon in my world as well, but I understand and recognize that just like you, it's a quick little reaction. It doesn't solve whatever the issue is. I have to wake up the next day, moving right along and getting it done. That balance that you've had, certainly has led you to get to the point where your current weight 147.4 from a starting weight of 245. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't overthink this. What I want you to do is continue with your great rules of not eating in the car, not eating in bed, listening to the podcast, staying mindful, staying focused. You absolutely can go out and be amazingly successful. Now, it's certainly, when we get to the point where, we continue to have that, that evening binge where no one else knows about it, what we have to kind of understand is that at some point, we'll talk about it, that's just kind of keeping those addictions and keeping that sugar habit alive. So you want to get to the point where you recognize what those triggers are, find a way to substitute something, have something, such as grapes or an apple, have something handy that you're less likely to overeat on. But if you do overdo it, it's certainly a much better option. And in my instance, it's just easier not to have my trigger foods in the house. So therefore, I can't go running to them when something comes up and just certainly takes me off my game. You clearly, have this thing going on. I want you to just kind of, in your own head, address on how you want to figure out how you want to attack this, how you want to plan for it, how you want to recognize it, and just continue to focus on being the best version of you that you can be. Continue to work on it and get it done. You can do this. You clearly have proven it. You've lost 100 pounds. That doesn't happen by accident. You just don't certainly wake up, binge or no binge, you don't wake up 100 pounds down, not having discipline, not having focus, not having a strong, solid mindset, understanding what you're trying to accomplish and working very hard to accomplish it. I'm incredibly proud of you. Keep up the amazing, amazing work. Next up, Colette writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. My why is simple. It's Dad versus Dan. My name is Colette from Long Island, and I was married to Dan for almost 40 years. He was a wonderful man, a great husband, a father who struggled with his weight his entire life. He was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in his early 30s. He became a walking example of why you need to do everything you can to avoid diabetes. Over the 30 years he had this disease, he encountered every complication related to it and was on at least a dozen medications. He had problems with his feet, his eyes, his heart, his kidneys. He had 2 major heart surgeries, an amputation of a toe, multiple procedures to alleviate bleeding in the eyes due to diabetic retinopathy, and in the end was on dialysis, resulting in the complications leading to his passing. He was genetically predisposed to diabetes and heart disease, and his parents died very young from these diseases, and he always felt he would die very young. And while 65 is young, he outlived his expectations by 15 years. Over the years, he fought against this disease, but it was an ongoing battle because of his addiction to food. We actually shared this addiction and the related weight battle, joining Weight Watchers many times, sometimes with some success, but never really lasting success. This addiction is so strong that even when you know it's shortening your life, it's a struggle to control. I suppose it would be easier if you could just stop eating, but that's not an option. On the other hand, my father is 93 years young. He golfs a few times a week, walking the hilly course. He takes very little medication, one, I think, and enjoys a very full life golfing, bowling, and attending music events on a regular basis. I want to think I am genetically predisposed to have his life, but carrying an extra 100 pounds will override that. My why is that I want to live the life that my father lives, not the life that my husband had to endure. No matter how long it takes for me, it's more about the quality. It took me more than 2 years to go back to Weight Watchers after my husband passing, partially because it was something we did together, and partly because when I met him, I was mostly going for him and did not fully commit myself to my plan. During 2016, I had a small medical issue that was potentially caused by obesity. The issue was resolved, but this was a wake-up call for me. I've always been very healthy, especially for an overweight 60-year-old person, no high blood pressure, reasonable cholesterol and sugar, no medication, so I've managed to ignore the potential risks of obesity for me, even though I was living the worst of them with my husband. In January, I joined Weight Watchers again for the last time. I am here for life. I am very focused. I am the one who downloaded many WhysAdvice podcasts to play on my trip to China, and I was very glad that I did, as that resulted in a 3.4 pound weight loss on vacation. Who does that? Well, someone who's focused. This has gotten me down 30 pounds in 3 months, more than 10%, so we all know what that means. Goal is in my future. I track every day, and I've had a few small stumbles that remind me that the addiction is still very much alive. I'm addicted to sugar, and I have tried to cut it out completely, as the few times I've had it, it led to eating more than I wanted, which even though I had points for it, it was unpleasant because of the lack of control. I have also cut out artificial sweetener, as I feel it keeps the cravings alive, and I've definitely noticed the lack of cravings. Like you, my willpower is so much stronger before the very first bite. I'm almost caught up with all of your podcasts, but I'm especially enjoying the Facebook Live ones now. I received my extra large FatDag International Tour t-shirt in the mail this week and hope to join you in Philadelphia in August. Well, hopefully the shirt will be too big by then. As it fits now, you, Connect, the Facebook groups, they're all great tools, but I know that I am responsible for my journey, as these tools only help if I plug into them. I'm on my way to goal, and then a lifetime of maintenance. Thank you for wishing me good focus, and every day, whether it's live or previously recorded, I wish you good focus also. Colette. And Colette on Connect is Colette Bennett 72257. I'll put a link there in the show notes. But Colette, first and foremost, what an amazing opening to your email, Dad versus Dan, and the tale of two lives. Certainly you have the opportunity to see both of them in front of you. My heart breaks for you for the passing of Dan. And, you know, what a life that he had to endure because of this addiction that we continue to struggle with. It's why I want to just make sure that unnecessarily people don't have to struggle with this. It's not something that we really have to endure, but what has to happen is we have to understand the complications. We have to understand the challenges. You living in it firsthand, you know what it's like. You've seen it, and even that didn't give you a strong enough wake-up call to change it. You're absolutely right. The addiction is very strong. You know exactly what's going to happen. You know what the future holds, but it still wrestles with us, and it still causes us to make some choices that otherwise we wouldn't make if we truly, truly were in control. seeing the tale of the two stories of the Dan versus Dad, I've gotten to the point where you understand what it is that you're after. You understand what it truly is that you want, and to have a life as full as your father has now, that is the ultimate prize. I said it in episode 192. If you want to be healthy when you're older, the time to take care of that and make that happen is now. You cannot wait until you're older to finally try and have that life. You have to build it along the way, and that's exactly what you're going through. I'm sorry that it took, again, Dan, from you at an early age, so the two of you couldn't work this thing together. But you now have an opportunity to do something for you that you should have done all along, and that's to take care of you. And what's going to be amazing as you do this is that other people in your circle will start seeing the amazing success that you're having, and somebody will come in and say, yeah, I want what she's having. I want to live a full life like Colette is, and it's going to be this entire journey that's going to make that happen for you. You're doing amazing work, and the fact that you now understand that this time is for you. I understand that. I understand that the many times that you would previously sign up for that, you weren't fully committed because you were going in as a wingman, not as a person who was doing the journey for yourself. This time is time to put you first. So many times as we're caregivers in these lives, we want to make sure that we take care of every single person out there. But the reality is we take care of us first. That's when we're able to completely get it done and make a change. I'm so glad that back in 2016, your small medical issue potentially related to obesity was a slight wake-up call, enough for you to write about it and to continue to think about it. I want you to focus there and say, you're right, this is the very last time that you're joining. At this point, the only thing quitting does is it gives you a new start date, and in many cases, it gives you a new start weight because that wake-up call has to come again at a much different place than it came this time. I want you to stay focused. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, using the tools that were out there. A trip to China with a 3.4-pound weight loss proves to me that you can do anything that you want. You're down 30 pounds. You hit your 10% goal. You're absolutely right. A 10% goal means that you can do whatever. You can hit whatever goal you want. You can do this. Having stumbles along the way, understanding the journey is the part of the journey that you're in now, is the piece that's going to give you the long-term success. Understanding that this is an addiction. This has to be managed for the rest of our lives. For some of us, we will always have to every single morning wake up on fire saying, what is it that I'm trying to do today? Cutting out sugar completely, trying to wean yourself off it. Some people, everyone reacts differently. You have to find out the piece that works for you, understand it, know it, and move on. Cutting out artificial sugars, cutting out the cravings. As you and I are very similar, is that first bite to me is the one that almost always leads to a second, third, fourth, and fifth. I know that about my journey. So therefore, knowing before I take that first bite, it's a very, very calculated, conscious decision to do that. Continue to figure it all out. Continue to work. I can't wait to see you in August. Part of the FatDag tour, we're going to be in Philadelphia in August. And, I do hope your shirt's too big. And if you bring me the shirt in person is too big, I will make sure you get the size that you need in August. So keep working your goal. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's make this thing too big, and I will bring you a medium. That's what I'll bring in. And if you show me that you're in it, I will absolutely hand it over without a doubt. You're probably going to have to remind me, but that is my goal. That's the commitment I make to you, Colette, right now as we go through this. You can do this. A lifetime of maintenance awaits for you. And when you sit back and you understand now that you have now seen both opportunities of life. You've seen Dan's story, you've seen your dad's story, and both are amazing lives, and one was tragically cut short. And we are all working very hard to do whatever we can to make sure that doesn't happen. On Facebook right now, Karen writes in and says, Colette, hearts and emojis. And Marcia says, you will rock this, Colette. Diane says, great email, Colette. It's incredibly true. And that's what's cool about this community is you're getting it done. You will absolutely rock this, says Tammy. It's just something in this email that I can tell from the thousands of emails that I've received. I can tell that something has shifted in your brain. I could tell in the very opening of your email that you knew exactly what you were going to write. You knew exactly what you're focused on. And then when you said Dad versus Dan, you're going to have the amazing life that your father has and how proud of you he is going to be when you two can celebrate together and maybe go walk the golf course together. So Colette, thank you for your email. Thanks for writing in. Keep up the amazing work. Alex writes in, says, "Hi, Mike. Alex A. Sanchez 021977 and Connect. Hey, I hope this message finds you and your family well. I'm writing this quick message to let you know that today, Thursday, April 5th, I went up 2 flights of stairs without stopping to rest or to catch my breath. Yes, that's correct. It may not seem like a big deal, but it is. I try to avoid stairs as much as possible due to arthritis in my knees. Anyhow, this week I've developed a sinus infection and bronchitis. I'm coughing constantly, but after the 2 flights of stairs, not one cough. Was I out of breath? Well, absolutely. My legs were shaking when I was all done, but all I could think of was I went up 2 flights of stairs without stopping. It was such a great feeling. It surprised me. What's more important was that I was at my son's track and field event. The old me would have not gone down the stadium stairs to be closer to see him participate. This newer version of me did. When I got to the school site and I saw the stairs, I knew going all the way down meant a closer look at my son, and I knew that once we were done, I would have to go up the stairs, and it was going to be challenging. But I didn't care. I went down. As if I was okay, I had to stop and I rest. I wanted to see my son and my boy, and did I surprise me? Woohoo! What a great feeling. I went up 2 flights of stairs. My starting weight, 389.6 pounds. My current weight, 344.4. Total weight loss, 45.2 pounds. That is all. Just sharing my excitement. Thanks for listening and always being there for us. Thanks for all that you do. Best wishes, Alex. Alex, how cool is this email where something that you were intimidated by for so long, you tackled it. That is what this entire journey is about. As we work our plan, as we work to develop a much healthier lifestyle, it's very important that we celebrate along the way. I think so often we wait to celebrate until we get to what we consider the final goal. And if we don't take opportunities along the way to celebrate every single victory along the way, then sometimes we never actually feel that joy that we should have every single day, understanding something so awesome as going up and down 2 flights of stairs. Alex, that's incredible work, and I can just picture you, in your email. I can see the emotional jumping off the page, and I can just imagine being there, seeing all of your your joy as you realized you did it. How amazing is that? When something that you worked very hard for, you've been focused, you've been disciplined, you've been tracking, you're down 45.2 pounds. That doesn't happen by accident. That's you putting in the hard work. And as a result, these stairs are no match for you. Thanks for sharing in your excitement. I'm excited to walk with you. And how cool now that as your son is out there on the track field, that you get to take in the extra opportunity to watch it. And I tell you, I actually can relate to this now because this is the first season that Megan has joined track. And you're right, the track is a pretty big event. And so depending on where you sit, you may only get to see a tiny little dot. So every chance you can get to get closer is worth it. Nothing can stop you now, Alex. You are well on your way. You can do what you can't lose 45.2 pounds by accident. So just keep doing what you're doing. You will reach whatever goal you want to get to. Thank you for sure for writing in. Next up, at Terre, Haute, Indiana, Julie writes in and says, celebration hitting the trifecta. Well, call me Alice, FatDag, because I am in Wonderland. When I weighed in this morning, it was 196.5. Well, I've lost 54.5 pounds and 20% of my overall weight. Thanks so much for all that you do. I've been listening to the podcast for the past few weeks, and you're so inspiring. I listen to it first thing every morning, and I feel like it sets me up for daily success. I also found out that you're a leader in Indiana. I live in Terre, Haute, and I hope to make it to some of your meetings and meet you in person. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart, Julie. Julie, thank you for your email. Yeah, Terre Haute, I'm pretty fond of Terre Haute. Lately, I've been driving to Terre Haute 3 days a week. I was there all day today. As a matter of fact, it's kind of on my list of places to go. But Alice, what a great email. 54.5 pounds, 20% of your overall body weight. You betcha we're going to call you Alice. Alice in Terre Haute is your new nickname. We're going to kind of knight you with that and kind of give you that honor and that distinction so that you say that, this is something that I did. I tell you, when you see that first number on the scale as a 1, after for so long, never, ever, ever seeing it, it's definitely something new and it's definitely exciting. And you clearly have been dialed in, you've been focused, and you're getting it done. I feel, just like you said, I think one of the reasons I want to do this show daily is because I believe very firmly that you have to wake up every single day on fire, knowing what your goal is and being focused on that. The podcast or anything in that matter, but the podcast is a tool that gives you that opportunity to start your day in a mindset of, I can do this. It's a daily dose of success, and that's the reason we deliver this daily. But now there's, the 192 other episodes, so you can always find a way to get dialed in. But if you start your day every single morning on fire, wanting to get it done, it clearly will put you on the right path. And you've done that, Alice, down to 196.5 for a total weight loss, 54.5 pounds, 20%. What an amazing accomplishment. What a way to celebrate. Perhaps one of these days when I'm out in Terre Haute, maybe we'll catch up for lunch or something like that. We'll have to see if that's in the cards, if we can make that happen. If not, you certainly can go to FatDag.com, click on my event tab. You'll see what meetings I lead here in Indiana, one in Plainfield, one up in Carmel. You're certainly welcome to hit either of them. But way to go, Alice. Congratulations on your hard work. Julie, keep up your amazing success, and let's continue to celebrate. Well, what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on the WhysAdvice podcast to send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I really want you to be proud of what you're doing. If it's something that you are just wanting to tell me, you want to tell the world, you want to celebrate it walking up 2 flights of stairs. If that is what you've done and you are proud of it, you need to share it with the world. You can see the excitement when they come into my inbox, and we want to celebrate with you as well. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit FatDag.com, click on Become a Patron today.